everyone. Welcome to Life Action Role Play. I am Adriel and I will be your facilitator this evening. We will be playing Savage Sisters, a shared GM role game from Ninth Level Games. I am part of Ninth Level Games, and I wrote this game with my business partner and some friends of ours, and that's who I am. So now I would love it if my players would be kind enough to introduce themselves. If it's okay with you, I'm going to call you out in the order I see you on my screen. Cool? All right. So, Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I've been on Ryan's channel once before. I do a lot of LARPing, acting, in role-playing and immersive kind of theater situations. But for my day job, I'm a costume designer for film. So it's all creative all the time.
That's so cool. Sydney.
Hello, my name is Sydney Rubino. I am a streamer, a model, an actor, a LARPer. I do a bunch of different things. My home channel is Not 20 Productions. Then we stream every Wednesday and Monday. And I am so stinking excited to play this game. You've got no idea. As soon as I saw that this was an option to play, I was like, yes, please.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Jess.
Hey folks, my name is Jessica and I am an immersive experience and game designer, and so I do as much LARPing and RPG as possible and make a lot of games that are way too heady, and so I'm excited to just like drop into my body and be as savage as possible.
Yay! Cool, thank you. So I would like to start today's stream with some safety discussions. So Savage Sisters has a safety section in the book. We, in this game, employ the X card. For the folks watching at home, we're going to use our internal chat. So if any of my wonderful players want to X something, they can type X in the chat and we will roll it back. Alternatively, if you want to, you can do this so that we can all see that you've X something, but that is in no way required. I also find it really important to employ an open door policy. Now, we're on a stream. It's unlikely that you're going to get up and go. But if you need to, you do that. Just say in the chat anything you want that indicates you're out of here. Because it's really important to me and it's really important to ninth level games that we have enthusiastic consent from our players. We're not here to not have a good time, but the kind of time that everybody's on board for. So the other things are lines and veils. So for me, I don't like gratuitous violence done to animals. Like, this is a savage game. We're in a barbarian type world. You might end up fighting an animal, and that's okay. But my line is violence for violence's sake in that structure. I also have a line against any kind of sexual violence. So none of that here, please and thank you. Does anyone else have any lines and veils they would like to share verbally? You don't have to. You can also share them in the chat. As I said before, this is a shared GM role. So as each person takes a turn as the GM, they will respect those lines.
I'd like to second your lines.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of gratuitous cruelty and violence. It really does make me feel big ol' ick. So yeah, please avoid.
Cool.
I'm not a pregnancy person, so no one talk about that. We can talk about it for your own characters, but not for mine. That's my thing, in addition to sexual violence, for sure, also.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I'm going to move to the next step, and that is I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to Savage Sisters, and then we will get into the part where you get to create your characters and your doll. Don't worry, you'll know what that is in a minute. And while doing that, the rules will they won't explain themselves. I'll explain them, but it will happen as we go through that part of the game. So let me get to the pretty part. Okay, so I'm just going to read you a quick introduction that I think will give you a real taste for what Savage Sisters is. Our daughters, our lovers, our sisters, our granddaughters. They tell our stories. They honor our resting places. Our time is up, but we hear them telling our tales. Our shades approach the fire, and we bless them for remembering us. Savage Sisters is for every woman who's ever picked up a sword, for every Amazon who's ever shot an arrow, for every girl who's ever hidden behind a powerful mask. Sisters are special, but they are not princesses. They are not queens. They are the women whose duty it is to set the world right when it strays. They are heroes. When a sister adventures, it is to protect those in need. When a sister adventures, she brings everything she gains home to share with her doll. Quick note on gender. Savage Sisters is sort of written to be about this barbarian woman experience. Whoever says that they're a woman is a woman. If they use pronouns that are not typically feminine gendered pronouns, doesn't matter. They are a sister and they are part of the doll. So as you hear that, please understand that it is not intended to exclude anyone. Okay, so Savage Sisters is a shared GM role-playing game about a tribe of warrior women who defend each other, those in need, their land. Each player's going to take a turn leading our tale for the other players. That player will act as the GM or grandmother for that tale. They will determine which roles the other players should make, and don't worry, I'm here to make sure that you know which roles are which and which numbers are which, so you don't have to memorize it when it's your turn. And they're going to represent any non-player characters in the world. Our world is a harsh one. It's full of steep, forbidding mountains, glassy seas, vast tracts of desert, verdant valleys, and trackless forests. Villages grow up wherever the most resources are available. Cities are few, but glitteringly rich. Trade takes place typically over land by pack animal and by sea in long ships with sails and many rowers. Life in our world is demanding, but it is also deep and vibrant. So, who are we? Who are you? Together we form a doll. A doll is a clan or family, and it's whether by choice or blood. Each doll has a spiritual guide referred to as a lar. They're a small god, a helpful spirit that protects our doll specifically. Each lar has a specific animal shape. So here is your first choice as players. You can either choose from this list that I read to you or choose something else entirely. Our current list is raven, snake, fox, wolf, reindeer, or wild horse.
Is this a companion in the sense that it's not like a part of us, or is this kind of like part of our own spirit?
So the way the LAR works mechanically is that on your die, whichever die you choose, you have the possibility of rolling a 1. When you roll a 1, it's the blessing of the LAR. The LAR steps in and helps you out of whatever situation you're in. So it's okay that that's a failure on a test because your LAR is there to get you out of that bind. They also sort of affect and direct the structure of your SODAL. So like wild horses, they live in herds. There's typical herd behavior that could affect your SODAL when we get to the part where you're doing evers and nevers to describe further how you are structured and how you interact with one another.
Cool. I think mine is reindeer.
Yeah.
So it does need to be a group choice, and it is.
I thought we each had
Yeah,
our own.
no, I'm so sorry. I did not explain that clearly, but like
Reindeer sounds great for me.
Yeah.
We don't
I
have
mean,
to. I mean,
My first thought was a jackalope because Adriel, your horns. So like reindeer, I feel like goes hand in hand. Since you're going to be sort of helping us today, I feel like we have to pay homage to you. So I'm down for reindeer.
So real quick aside, reindeers are my favorite because fun fact, if you don't know, female reindeers are the ones who keep their antlers year round. It's male reindeers that lose their antlers. So in the typical like Santa's reindeer, those are all female reindeer.
hell yeah.
Okay, so everybody seems to be on board with reindeer. Yeah, cool. Okay, now it's time to choose a name for your LAR. Choose a good name, a strong name, one that they will be proud to wear, one that sounds right in your mouth during songs of worship.
Ooh. A name that always kind of like sticks with me is there's a name, it's Ferryn, Ferryn, and it means adventure. And I kind of have always wanted to name something that. So if y'all want to embark on this journey with me, I would love to name the reindeer Ferryn.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. And you said that was spelled Ferrin, Sydney. Is that correct?
YN.
YN. Thank you. Okay, cool.
Yes.
I like to take notes so that we don't forget. Okay, cool. So let's use our LAR Ferryn to guide us as we talk about the next part of the form of our SODAL. So we have a structure. Everyone must agree to the rules and the structure. Each SODAL lives by a particular code, but all SODALs observe the following rules. Each is allowed to choose the role that they feel best matches their personal, mental, and emotional strengths. The knife, the spear, the sword, and the shield are all different, but they are all equally important. I will come back to the knife, the sword, the shield, and the spear as we move forward. We are all taught philosophy, history, science, and our magic. We are taught to fight, each to our own physical strength, and to each according to their ability, from each according to their means. Each sister chooses who inherits their worldly wealth, titles, magic, and roles within the community. They are based on a desire and a willingness to learn and act. We choose to be sisters. That is all that matters. So The next step is that we're going to create rules for this culture that we're building together. These are the precepts that form our shared family. So each Sodal has evers and nevers. These are the things we will never do. These are the things that we always do. And we can have one of each from each player, or more or less, up to you all. But I've got some examples so that it makes more sense what I'm talking about. Examples are, we never eat more than our fill. We always keep our heart in our head. We never hold a grudge while the sand is cool. We always welcome strangers to our fire. We never leave the burrow undefended. We always expect venom. So your reindeer, Farron, has some specifics. It's got like unique and fascinating adaptations to its environment, and that should sort of guide your choices of those evers and nevers. However, this is your game, so you can do whatever you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of saying that we will always light each other's fires. Like we will always build each other up and make sure that each other are inspired and feeling good about our lives. I kind of like that one.
That.
Yeah.
Well,
yay.
I love that because it does kind of work. I was trying to think of reindeer qualities, and because they live so far north, there's a lot about about light and darkness and you know and long winters, and so I wonder if we can kind of continue to be inspired by that. Reindeers are also pack animals, so I wonder if there's like we will never abandon one another in the cold, or some kind of version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just thinking about that now, thinking about the northern lights up there. It sounds like we may get into some mischief, and so it would be great if we, even in the throes of the hardest possible moments, are always able to appreciate the beauty of the world around us and what we have.
I love that. Why is writing so hard? I do love analog notes, but man, sometimes I'm so much faster. I like the idea of appreciating the world around us, because it really kind of, expands our mindset. I also like the idea, since, reindeer are pack animals and they have hooves, and we're going in theme. I like the idea that we will always, I guess, maybe it's a little bit similar to like never leave each other out in the cold, but like we will never lose track of who we are.
I
like that.
Yeah.
Just thinking about what a live reindeer can do that sometimes animals with warm furs get killed for. We will never take a life. Like we will never take the pelt of an animal when we can curl up next to an animal.
That's really good.
love that. I had to look next to me because sometimes my dog sits right there. So I was like, oh, yeah, curl up next to.
do we get a dog, a peep of dog? Are we blessed today?
Yes. One's quick.
Oh,
hi. This is Yaskier.
What a little baby.
in honor of Jaskier, we will always sing the shit out of our heroics and our failures.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so by my count, we have 3 alwayses and 3 neverses. Are there any more that y'all would like to add?
I think we got a pretty good amount. Is anyone else want to add anything?
I feel like it's a good breadth of concepts.
Awesome. Okay, so just want to double check I haven't missed anything for us up to this point. Yes. Okay, one last thing. We need to choose the magic focus for our LAR. Maybe it has lightning magic, healing magic, ice magic. Anything you want, you can have. You just all need to agree on it.
Oh,
I'm not sure this is the right call, but the first thing that came to mind, this is too broad, I'll say it anyway, is gift magic. Just thinking about the things that reindeers currently do for humans in myth. But that's pretty broad.
I mean, maybe it's too much of a Deus Ex Machina, but like it can bring objects or conjure objects or something to help us on our quests.
kind of like telekinesis is not the right word, but yeah, like maybe they're like a summoner and they can summon like summon what that being needs in that exact moment. They can sense like, oh no, this person needs water.
Yeah.
Water skin.
It could be only natural things or something.
It could also come with like an audible sound of a bell. So if you're trying to be sneaky, it's probably no good.
Oh, I like that.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the note I'm taking is, I'm just going to say gift magic can summon what is needed, must be natural, accompanied by the sound of a bell. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Now, we have one more collective choice, and that is, what is the name of your Sodal?
Oh. This one has me stumped.
How many people are in our Sodal? Is it us or is it us and others?
It's you and others. It's as many or as few other members as you want to incorporate into your tales.
What's another name for reindeer? Help me, Google.
I feel like there's like a word link that I can't quite make between like Farin and reindeer. Like there's a commonality there, but I got nothing on the overlap.
I just accidentally looked up reindeer names and I'm like, no. That's not what we
Rainarin? That just combines both of them.
Yeah. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, Plan.
Can you make a word out of the first letter of all their names?
Oh.
Did a pit of no.
It could be tundra or caribou. What's caribou backwards? Sorry, Jenna.
Oh no, you're good. I was gonna say my my family's Swedish, and I was thinking of we visited the most northern town in Sweden when we were there for Midsummer Festival, and I looked up the name, and the name is Kiruna, which I like a lot. Kiruna.
That's nice.
I like that.
Reindeers live up north in Sweden.
Let's go with that. That sounds cool. How do you spell that?
Kiruna. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah.
I just officiated my best friend's wedding and they did everything Sweden related. And so these are little, oh no, I'm doing that thing that I can't do. There's sorry. It says skull on it, which is
cool.
Skull, yeah.
That's awesome.
Apparently the scientific name for reindeer is Rangifer tarandus, if that helps. Thank you, Queen's Court Games.
Wow.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So before we get to creating our characters, I'm just going to remind us who we are. We are the Kiruna. We follow the path of our Lar Farron. We will always light each other's fires. We will never lose track of who we are. We will always sing the shit out of our heroics and our failures. We will never abandon one another in the cold. We will always appreciate the beauty of the world around us and what we have, and we will never take the pelt of an animal when we could curl up next to it.
I would like to make one tiny amendment, which is that I just looked up Swedish curse words. And so I would like to formally replace shit with helvet. So we're going to sing the hell out of all the things instead. Sorry to get anachronistic, everyone.
Love it. That is fantastic. Thank you. Okay. So, unlike a lot of RPGs, in this game, you're going to be playing more than one position within the storytelling process. Sort of gone over this a couple times, but you're going to create a sister that you will inhabit to act in the narrative, but you, the player, are also sitting at the feet of your grandmother who is relaying this tale to you of sisters past who have done some wonderful heroics and failed epically. I believe that I said this before we started the streams. I'm going to repeat it for the folks at home. If a sister dies during a tale, that's okay. The following tale just takes place at a time before that sister died. This is sort of out of time structure narration. Okay, here we go. This is when we get to the good stuff. I mean, I think it's all good stuff, but even more good stuff. So each character has a role in the Sodal. There are 4 roles. They coincide with the die that you choose. In Savage Sisters, you will only ever roll 1 die. You might roll it twice, but you're only ever going to roll 1 die, and it's your die. And also, if multiple people want to take the same die type, that is 100% okay. So the 4 roles are: with my wisdom and perception, I wield the knife, the D4. With my wild magics, I wield the spear, the D6. With my powerful presence, I wield the sword, the D8. With my strength and heart, I wield the shield and axe, the D10. So, you're going to be making tests as each grandmother leads the tale. When you attempt to do something that could be difficult or could lead to interesting storytelling, you're going to need to roll against tests. You will notice, as I tell you what the tests are, that some die types are mechanically more likely to be better at specific tests. And that's to differentiate the types of characters that you're playing, but without a lot of math, because I don't like math, and neither does Chris O'Neill. So the tests are the test of scrolls. That's mental, thought-based things, information you might have, knowledge, perception, diplomacy. To succeed on the test of scrolls, you need to roll a 2 or a 3. The next test is the test of sandals. Sandals, that's feet. So dexterity, agility, speed, grace. You need to roll a 3, 4, or a 5. The next test is the test of scythes. That is combat. That is when you are attacking something. That is destruction. It's the weapons that you're fighting with. To succeed, you need to roll a 4, 5, 6, or 7. And then the last test is the test of skulls. Skulls are standing firm against attacks, being brave. It's your bodily strength, your constitution, your health, that which holds you up. To succeed on skulls, you need to roll a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. But Adriel, you might be saying, what happens if I roll a 1? If you roll a 1, your Lar Faerun steps in and helps you out of that jam. So if you're the D4, right, and you're trying to succeed on a test of skulls, you are very likely to fail at that test because you literally can't roll any of those numbers. But you are also way more likely to roll a 1, so you will have sort of a more of a connection with Faerun in terms of succeeding or not. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I'm going to put all those tests into the chat as well as the different roles, and y'all can talk amongst yourselves about who you might want to be.
I have an initial impulse for diplomacy, but I can be swayed in any direction, which probably makes me a terrible diplomat, but whatever, I'll stand by it.
Maybe that makes you a good diplomat. You're being very diplomatic with us. Which one was that?
I think that was knife.
Yes.
Rolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had an initial impulse towards spear and wild magic.
Nice.
What were you?
I had a natural inclination towards the shield and the axe.
Perfect.
Way to go, sis. Sisses.
This is working out great.
Meant to be.
All right. So just got to type one more set of numbers. So the knife is the D4, the axe and shield is the D10, and you said spear. Right? Yes, great. That's the D6. So you are welcome to use dice rollers or physical dice, whatever you want. It's your game. So now we're going to build some relationships with one another. So take a minute or two, think about what your character's name might be. And then I will tell you how we're going to determine relationships among each other.
Sydney, I'm so sorry. I think I missed which one you ultimately landed on.
Oh, the shield and the axe.
You could do both?
Yeah. So,
not this one. Got it. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shield and the axe combined is 1. That rolls a D10.
Awesome.
Yeah. Which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking, I feel like I had a name that I loved a long time ago, and I'm trying to find it. It's hard. Naming is probably one of the most fun, but also the most difficult things to do.
Absolutely.
Always the longest part of the short games I've run.
Yes.
I might just go with caribou backwards and be
Ooh.
Uobarak.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? Or how are you pronouncing
What a great question. Uobarak.
Ooh.
Ooh. I found it. It's very basic. It's Sigrid.
Oh yes,
Gorgeous.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why not?
Mhm.
Okay. Sigrid. I definitely spelled Oberak wrong. So I'm going to type out caribou so that I can retry. Thank
In
you.
the chat.
I did spell it right. Nice. Okay.
Nice.
So we've got Jessica, you're Uobarak. Sydney, you are Sigrid. Jenna, no pressure. Take your time.
No, I think I got it. So I think I'm gonna go follow the backwards trend a little bit. And I'm gonna go with my great grandmother's name, who is Swedish, backwards. Her name is Ebba. So I was thinking Abe.
Nice. ABBE for you.
Mhm.
Yes. Awesome. Ave. Love it. Okay. So choose amongst yourselves who wants to go first. And I am going to roll a D4 for you. And what you're sort of like mixing between, randomly getting is between this list of 4 relationships: childhood companion, fierce rival, respected partner, or true sister. And the person who gets that role is the person to your left. Now, that's probably a little confusing because we may be in different places on each other's screens. So, Sydney, when you roll, it will be your relationship with Abe. Abe, when you roll, it will be your relationship with Uobarak, and Uobarak, it will be your relationship with Sigrid. All right.
Mhm.
Who would like to get their fate first?
How many options? What are we rolling?
You're rolling a D4, or I can roll it for you because if it's not your die and you don't have one with you, no big deal. Childhood companion, fierce rival, respected partner, or true sister.
All right. I can roll first. I have my D4 for Ubarak. 3.
Okay. Respected partner. Nice.
So glad we're both good at our job or something. At our job.
Yeah, does that mean social partner or like job partner, or is it up for interpretation?
It's up for interpretation.
Cool.
That's great.
Mhm.
I rolled a 1 for Sigrid.
Nice. Okay. Childhood companion. Nice. Yay! All right.
That's exciting. Ooh, okay.
All right.
Okay. I also got a 1.
Nice. All right. Now, you can keep that. I think that's great. But if you're like, I would like to have a different relationship, you can absolutely re-roll. Totally up to you. I mean, I should have said that for any of you. If you're like, that's not what I want, you could re-roll. It's all about opting in.
Let's try something. Let's see what happens if I re-roll. Let's just see. I have a feeling. Hold up. No, I got a 1 again.
It's fate. It's fate.
They really want us to be best buds. It's fine. It's good.
All right.
I love that there's two sets of childhood companions, but Ave and I were not childhood companions.
Different stages of childhood.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, you're cool, but like, I really just respect you for the work you do.
We grew into it.
Yeah. Okay. So last thing, let me just. Okay. Yep. Okay. There's one more mechanic. Well, there's two more mechanics to note. Each sister has like a harm level. So if you fail at a test and there's a chance of being hurt in that test. So like if you were testing against trying to climb a precarious cliff, right? And you failed that test. So for a test like that, you'd be rolling sandals because that's your sort of body action roll. And you failed it, you would take a point of harm. Each time you take a point of harm, you need to roll your die. If you roll above your current harm, you were damaged, but you push forward. Narrate how you were hurt and continued on. If you roll equal to your current harm, clear it and note down that you have 0 harm. If you roll below your current harm, your sister dies. Narrate your spectacular death. And then the last mechanic is destiny and despair. So whenever there's a success on a test that results in some material or spiritual advantage to the Sodal, you get a token added to the destiny pile. Whenever there's a test that fails that uses our wealth, our supplies, our time, our energy, we're moving closer to despair, and we move a token from destiny to the wealth of the world. That part's a little bit confusing. I'm here to narrate that, but what you need to know is that if your destiny is 6 or more, you roll with advantage. Roll your die twice. If either roll succeeds, you succeed. If your destiny is 3 to 5, you roll with advantage for non-violent actions. If it is 2 or less, roll with disadvantage. Roll your die twice. You must succeed on both rolls to succeed. You're starting out with 5 tokens in your wealth of the world pile, and then we're going to take 2 of those tokens, I'm keeping track of this, in our destiny pile. So your destiny is currently at 2. Hey, as I'm reading this out loud, I realized that if it's 2 or less, we're starting at disadvantage. And I'm pretty sure that's intentional, but I don't remember that because it's been a long time since we wrote this game. So I don't want us starting at disadvantage. I would rather that y'all start on an even playing field. So I, as the person who is facilitating, and I'm going to say, we're not going to use these mechanics in this game. We're just going to use the harm mechanic. Cool?
Sound of a bell.
Cool. Thank you. Should have reread again before I got on stream, but it's been a busy week. Okay, so all you need to keep track of is when you fail on a roll where you could take physical harm, take a point of harm and roll your die. Okay, and now the meat part. Yeah, please.
About harm, because there's always a distinct possibility of death if it occurs very early on in play. What's the scenario there? kind of come up with a new character for continued stories, or does the adventure kind of end there for that player?
So each adventure should take 15 to 20 minutes at most. So if you die very early on, we can sort of make a choice in the moment. Typically, I have seen it sort of wrap up the tale. It kind of brings the tale to a natural sort of end. So yeah, it's sort of like how you're all feeling in the moment, but there's no strict rule around it.
Got it. Cool.
So the tales we tell are short. They're snippets of a time in and place. You want to fill them with color and detail. Basically, you're going to have 2 or 3 scenes with these characters being told by whoever is the grandmother. Now, the person who's telling the tale, the GM, you can bring your character into the tale. That's a way for you to sort of be involved with the action that's happening. But you're also the NPCs and you're also deciding what happens. So we have come up with a quick way to give yourself some inspiration for a tale. And that is, this is one of my favorite things, but it's going to sound weird when I say it out loud. So we've listed a bunch of title structures. So you could do a tale that's like the object and the object, the sickness and the moon, the tower and the sword, the object of the object, the temple of teeth, the sign of the star gods, the description object, the proud shimmer, the shaking corpses, the description and the description, the feral and the proud, the description of the description and description, the blossom of devils and bone, the description object of description object, the city of black glass, the black clay of the city of honor. Direction, the description object, beneath the bearded eye, the counting object of the sister, the description, the last shadow of Teague the audacious, the third blade of Sybil the lost. And I have a bunch of prompt words that are in the book. And what I'm going to do is copy them and drop them in the chat because, oh, please let me do this. Nope, it won't. All right, well, I'm going to work on that. But while I work on that, y'all can start to just like chat about like who might want to lead first, what kind of tale you're thinking about, ask each other for help, whatever you want to do.
Anyone feeling strongly about wanting to spin the first web?
I'll do it.
Oh, Sigrid.
Yeah.
I mean, Grandma.
Yeah.
Both.
I'll be ye old grandma. When I was a young girl,
Tell us a story, Grandma.
there was a lawn, and your grandfather told people to get off of it. And one day they wouldn't, so then we had to go on an adventure.
Grandma, we heard this one.
No, I'll do it. I will tell the story that way.
Get a grandma
You encourage me. I don't. Okay.
All right.
So,
Oh, wait, sorry. Quick question. Are we an audience in addition to players? How Princess Bride is this?
It's as much Princess Bride as you want it to be. So like some folks are like, yes, I am playing my character and I'm also heckling from the sidelines. And some folks are very straightforward, like I'm playing my character y'all seem like a group of very narratively proficient people, so just feel free to do whatever your heart desires.
Oh, we gonna see how this goes. Okay. You messaged me on the side and you're like, this is going on a left turn. And then another left turn.
I love left turn.
All right. So these are some really amazing words.
I know.
How about the description words? Oh my god. The tale of the boisterous blood blossom.
Ooh. Can't wait to see where this goes.
Me too. All right. The boisterous, the tale, or the ballad. There we go. The ballad of the boisterous blood blossom.
Sing the helvet.
Sing the helvet. Absolutely. So there are a bunch of wee lads and lasses just sitting around this lovely campfire that the elders have set out. It's a very cold and wintry late night, and all of the children are about to go to sleep, but one or two or three stay up just a little bit longer because they love hearing the stories of their elders, and they beg them for one or two more stories before they go to bed. And the elders go, okay. Have you ever heard of the ballad of the, already forgot the name.
It's okay. I put it in the chat.
This is why you're the best. All right. Well, now we got to get into
Grandma's getting old.
Character. Grandma's really getting old here, sweetie. So let's see how well we can remember the ballad of the boisterous blood blossom.
That's a good name, Grandma.
Yeah, Grandma Sig. Oh, thank you, sweeties. This is why you're my favorite. Don't tell the other children. They're asleep. Now, it was a night quite like this. There were 3 sisters that were bonded in blood. There was the audacious Abby. Yes, that's correct.
I think it's pronounced Abe.
Abe, thank you, darling. Once you get old, things just kind of go. If I told the story before, well, I'm sure you'll correct me later.
Not this one, but I love stories about her. She's my favorite.
She's my second or third favorite.
Well, that's because she's your great-great-grandmother, probably. I don't know. Genealogy gets weird and things like that. Well, Abe, the audacious Abe was the spear. They were the eclectic magic user of the group. They were mysterious, and their eyes sparkled like moonlight on a winter's day. That there's no moon then.
There might be.
Sometimes.
Because there's the dark times.
It's true. Sometimes there's only 2 hours of daylight and the moon is just there all the time.
You're so right. Grandma knew this. And she meant to do it. Good on you for being, this was a test. Good job, Jenna.
Thank you.
Yes, her eyes were like starlight and moonlight on during the night times of the time of the year where that happens. And then there was the lovely Uberak, which is caribou backwards. I don't know if you knew. But it's very important to our tribe, of course, as you know, because our lovely Lara Farron blesses those who thinks that they are the most of the reindeer type, and Uberak was one of these. They were the knife. They were wise and cunning, and they moved with purpose, and sometimes that purpose was to look for flowers. Uberak was very fond of flowers. They even at some times would sneak out at night after Abe and the other person I'm getting to went to bed, and often would look among the rocks and the crevices for the most beautiful flowers that nobody had ever seen before.
I sneak out of bed too.
This is because that's your great grandmother, probably. I don't know, genealogy's weird.
Whoa.
Now, I know, talk to your grandfather about that one. He's got all that knowledge. Now, Sigrid was the axe and the shield. She was the one that was staunch and strong and probably a little bit stupid, but that's okay. It's one of those things where you love your sister and then you just go, sometimes she's a little bit dull. But do you know what that means? Don't look at the other children. Just keep looking at me. I don't want them to feel bad. Now, one night when Uberak was out searching for flowers, Sigrid was roused. So you see, Sigrid and Uberak were childhood companions, and Sigrid would be often, aware of when Uberak would go and look for these flowers. And one night, Uberak was out for maybe a bit too long. And so Sigrid roused Abe, who viewed Uberak as a trusted companion, and a really, really good at their job, just very good at finding flowers. And this is when they were a little bit younger, so, they hadn't really come into their full potential yet, but they had risen Sigrid and Abe, and they went out and they followed Uberak's footprints and were tracking them. Is this when we roll dice?
Yes, this is a great time to roll dice. So you're tracking some footprints. An appropriate roll for that is a scrolls roll, because that's knowledge. So every player's character, or you know what I'm trying to say, y'all roll your dice and see if you succeed on scrolls.
Oh,
if I
sure,
do
boy.
well, does it mean I left deep and useful footprints?
Oh.
Because if you roll well, you would have known to leave those footprints, especially because we never abandon anyone alone in the cold. So you would have left a good trail.
Smart
I
person.
rolled a 4. Is that useful?
So scrolls,
and I rolled a 5
and 3. All right, so y'all each take a point of harm.
No.
And you each roll against your harm, and you also just describe how you failed Uberak at leaving a trail, and you, Abe, failed at following the trail, and hopefully neither of you die.
I got
Does
really
Sydney also
excited.
roll? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like sort of up to Sydney in that moment. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Yes.
roll.
What happened, Uberak?
I was really excited about going out flower hunting this evening, and so I made a flower hunting costume. And it happened to involve like a great birch skirt, but the skirt was kind of only in the back, and so it just wiped away all of the footprints like a little brush. It was like very light and delicate. The skirt itself is stunning and smelled amazing because it was fresh birch bark, but unfortunately it did wipe out pretty much all of my tracks.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Abe was overconfident because they have such a high opinion of kind of Uberak's journeys and adventures and how they always lead them into good places. And so I think they were overconfident in where they think that Uberak was going. And so they lead Sigrid deep into the woods, and they get lost.
Oh
no.
And Sigrid was pissed. to say the least, very frustrated at Abe. I've never seen two sisters fight like this in ages. I only fight like this with your grandfather. Now, listen, these lovely individuals, Uberak not knowing their folly, upon moving into the forest, made it very difficult to find. So unfortunately, when Abe and Sigrid got lost, it began to get colder and colder, and they couldn't see as the mists rolled in, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, creeping through the forest, you see a wolf. It's a wolf creeping out of the forest. Oh no. Roll for don't die.
So the wolf has crept out of the forest. How do I assume the wolf is near Abe and Sigrid, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can sort of decide, like, how do you want to act in this moment? Or grandmother, if you're like, this wolf is immediately attacking, y'all should roll for some combat, which is staves. It's not called staves anymore. It used to be called staves.
Sides.
Yes.
Sides?
Thank you. Yes.
Sides.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this wolf wasn't half bad. You see, though, the wolf was injured, and it was limping on its front paw, and there was the only one around. And Abe and Sigrid immediately started tending to the wolf because they realized that the wolf needed their help. And being kind and understanding human beings, they decided to aid the wolf. And after they were successful, because god damn it, they were successful in aiding the wolf, the wolf then started to sort of understand them in a way. For this was no ordinary wolf. The moon outside was red in color, alighting the snow with a sort of orangey tint. This wolf had come out on the blood moon, you see. And what Uberak did not know upon venturing out that night was that the blood moon was a very dangerous moon, but it was the only moon that allowed you to find the boisterous blood blossoms. Now, these flowers are only those of legend. I have never seen one with mine own eye. However, I have heard that they bloom loudly. And when they do, the pollen that spews from them is red, and after it lays upon the crisp snow, it looks as if drops of blood had fallen upon them. Now, this wolf knows exactly where these flowers are, and perhaps could leave Sigrid and Abe to Uberak. But simply saving the wolf's life will not be enough, for they have to cross a very dangerous frozen lake before they can reach the place that Uberak was searching for. And now Abe and Sigrid must make a roll. Actually, Uberak should also make a roll to see if they actually made it across the lake. Please make roll to see if made across the lake.
Sandals. So you're testing against sandals, and that is a 3, 4, or 5.
3, 4, or 5. Beautiful. Yay? Yes.
Uh-oh.
Cool. So I got a 1. Uberak, in her infinite wisdom, does not lack for confidence in her wisdom. And so she sort of took a quick scan of the frozen lake and was like, looks good, steady. Yeah. And so just walked straight out onto it. And in the process, misses the fact that there are just many, many tiny cracks as she gets closer to the other side of the lake, which is weird because usually that happens in the middle of the lake. Not this one. And she's all the way across and thinks, she notices, because wisdom. And she thinks, I can make it, I'll leap. And so she takes a graceful, she like lifts up her skirts behind her, takes a running jump and leaps across the last like 12 feet of lake and falls straight into the lake. However, at the last possible moment, her feet, just about 6 inches into that lake, hit upon something soft. And she hears a little tinkle of a bell and is able to very quickly get onto dry land, realizing that just under the surface of the water are bright red flowers.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Abe and Sigrid, how do you get across the lake?
Oh. Sigrid does not.
Oh.
Sigrid rolled a 9.
Okay. So, take a point of harm. Do you only have 1 or do you have 2 now?
1.
Okay,
Wait, no.
Cool.
This one would be my second.
Okay, so now roll your die again and hopefully you roll above a 2.
You have 10.
Oh, I did.
Best chance.
Yes. Cool. Okay. All right. So, Ave, you get to narrate how you successfully, without a problem, get across this lake, and Sigrid, you narrate how it was real close, but you made it.
Yeah, so Abe Abe and Sigrid, they follow the wolf to the lake, and they slowly start to make their way across. And Abe likes to go ice fishing, and so she kind of knows the average lake, where things are firmest and where they're not. But she recognizes that this is actually a magical lake, and there's a reason that the edges actually seem unstable in certain parts, and she sees kind of something glinting below the surface, and as they are crossing, she happens to see some of the cracks that were left by Ubarak, and she kind of holds back Sigrid and says, okay, if we jump to the side and avoid these shallower parts, see where the ice is a more opaque kind of whitish color, then that is where you need to avoid. And I'm going to use my spear and kind of vault over that spot. I'm going to try to toss it back to you, and hopefully this works out for us. And she jumps over and kind of vaults with her spear over to dry land. And then she slides the spear back across the ice towards Sigrid.
That's great. The one problem is that Sigrid is blind AF. She can see. She needs glasses, and they don't exist.
No glasses.
No, so she can't see the tiny cracks. So she just has to take Abe at her word and go, oh yeah, the cracks, that's great. So Sigrid goes, well, this spear is gonna help, and she puts the spear down and like pokes it on the lake and goes, oh, that seems good, and then steps right behind the spear and goes right into the lake. right down, and it's real cold. So at this point she's like, and she just pulls herself up over the ice and starts crawling army style across the lake, as to not put any pressure points on it and not fall in the water again because it's freaking cold.
Nice. So, grandmother, everybody's back together, what happens next?
That's a great question. Well, now that Abe and Sigrid have joined Ubrak and they can see the flowers in the water, they go, oh no, what do? And the wolf has successfully also followed them across the frozen lake and looks down into the water and goes, you know what you have to do. And they're like, no, we really don't. Please tell us. And the wolf goes, what does the wolf say? What does the fox say? Basically, the wolf says, you must look into the water. Take your hand, probably Sigurd because she's already really cold, into the water and gaze upon this flower and give it a compliment. Because after all, the mysterious blood blossom is nothing if not a little bit vain. Just a little. And it just, it needs a little bit of encouragement every once in a while. And don't remember, children, it's always important to uplift and compliment others, especially when you're an old lady, because people just stop giving you nice things because you're old. Anyway,
Grandma, I really like your chainmail bikini.
Thank you, Jenna. I have worn it since I was a wee girl. Just a little lass. And you know what? Grandma can still pull it off. Thank you.
Grandma can get it.
Oh, yeah. You should see Grandma when she goes into town. Oh, she's fighting them off with a spear and a shield.
I want to be just like you when I grow up, Grandma.
Oh,
yeah, me too,
no.
Grandma.
Oh, that's terrifying and good for you. So, Uberak, who's the one who is infatuated with these flowers, looks into the depths of the water and rolls to see how good her flattery skills are.
Let's call that a scrolls roll.
Yeah.
Scrolls roll. I love that.
2.
Success.
Yeah. Yes.
I look down into the brightest of the blossoms, which is clearly bleeding out, as it is wont to do, and sing it a compliment, which is beautiful blossom, red and melting. You make all of the water look like death occurred. However, as vicious as you seem, we know in our hearts you wish only to dream. You come out in the evening and stay for just one night, and with all of your powers, you light the lake up bright. We thank you for your flower gift. We'll pluck just the one and take you to our Sodal, where the fun has just begun. Pluck.
And everyone was really excited because Ubrecht's great at singing. And then what happened to Abe?
Abe asked if Ubrak could I carry the flower? It's very important. I know that you were the one that got it, but you and I have dedicated much of our studies and our learning to try and find out where these flowers are. But you were always the brave one that went out to seek them. I would love to just to hold it on our way home, and I promise I won't take the credit for it. I just want to be a part of this procession, and this flower is so important to me, and I would love to do that.
Abe, I trust you with my life. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the research that we had done together. Not only do I respect your skills as a tracker, because damn, did I not make it easy today. Also, I'll let you in on a secret. I'm not super graceful. I almost fell in the lake today. And you did an incredible job of sword vaulting. I can't think of anyone better suited to carry this back to camp.
Oh, that's so nice. And with that touching moment, Sigrid failed really bad and accidentally ended up insulting the flower, which really angered the wolf. Sigrid went, "Oh, wow, that was so beautiful, Ubrak. You're just so graceful with your words, and Sigrid, and that was such a sweet moment. Flower, you look so beautifully gross. I mean, you're bleeding everywhere, and it kind of looks like Ubrak's just holding a bunch of guts. And when you passed it over to Sigrid, it was just like, wow, that's just a lot of gore. And it's like, good for you. You're just a little bit different, and that's okay." And with that, the flower started to wither and die a bit because it felt really weird about that. And the wolf in turn goes, "Why? Why would you say that ever? I don't why would you? How have you never complimented anyone in your life? Have you never? This is not, we were having such a nice moment." Yep. Sigrid's gonna take a point of harm, which is really not good. She's got 3 now. It's really bad.
Please, she can make it back.
We're gonna find out, because the wolf is gonna chase them across the lake with the flower. And while the wolf chases them, because he feels betrayed because he led them to the beautiful flowers, and then one of them was just like, "Oop, you look like bloody guts." They have to recross the water. So everyone make another check to recross the water.
Sandals.
Sandals, please. Nope. Thank goodness. How does Abe do across the water?
So Abe has her flower, though it's wilting and its petals have started to fall. So she cradles it very close to her chest. But because of that, she cannot do her spear vault. And she tries to make a running leap as big as possible. But at the last minute, she kind of stutters to a halt and perks up her ears, because with her wild magic and her tracking ability, she can kind of hear the sound of hooves in the distance. And Farron is actually running towards them through the woods. And she jumps on Farron's back and vaults over the soft spot in the lake and canters to the safety to the other side of the lake.
And how does Ubrak do?
Ubrak attempts to reconcile the sister's relationship with the wolf, whose name is Luposi, the flower finding wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And gets really distracted by attempting to like quell the wolf's fears, saying, please don't hold Sigrid's words against her. She has a very sweet heart and a soft brain sometimes. And truly, we love her for all that she is. It would mean so much to us if you could just give her another chance and really get to know her good side. And in the process, the wolf is chasing the sisters, and so Uberek is also trying to run after Luposi and just isn't paying attention to where she's going and falls through the exact same spot that Sigrid fell through before. And doesn't know how to army crawl, just never learned that. And so is attempting to like math her way out of the situation of like, I wonder which part of the ice I should push on to get up from here. How much damage do I take in this? Is this all the damage or one of the damage?
Always only 1 point of harm, and you roll against your current harm total.
Okay, great. So Uberek manages to reach the spear, which is still at the bottom of the lake.
She took it back, but I think
Never mind.
She abandoned it when she jumped off. Okay.
There was a log down there, and Uberek manages to lift it up just enough to just claw her way back up to the surface. And by the time she reaches the surface, the wolf is gone. And so she just she walks to the other side, but it's messy. She falls a lot.
But she's still alive.
She's still alive.
Mm-hmm. That's what matters. Somehow Sigrid is too. When Sigrid runs across the lake, in order to get away from the wolf, she just keeps shouting compliments that sound like insults the entire way in order to try and fix her problem, and ends up making it worse. And actually the wolf catches up to Sigrid and pounces on her on the ice. And I'm going to make a roll for a test of skulls to see what's gonna happen. This is why you compliment people. And oh yay, she got a 9. She's fine. Sigrid successfully is able to fight off the wolf with her shield and her axe. However, because of the nature of the tribe, she does not actively harm the wolf, for she understands she may have done an oopsie, and manages to just fend off the wolf with her shield, and is able to just distracted enough with she has a bone in her necklace. She throws the bone. And the wolf runs after the bone because wolf dog, yes. And so Sigrid makes it finally over and meets up with Abe and Uberak, with Farron still there. And Farron, our Lar, actually takes a look at the wilting flower that is in Abe's hand and looks at the 3 young individuals in front of them and touches their nose to the flower. And just that is enough to bring the flower back to life. And once the flower is back to life, it springs once again their pollen onto the ground, and it sprays so high that the trees are covered in beautiful red hues, and it is the most beautiful sight any of them had ever seen. Of course, it was very hard to explain when they walked back into town why it looked like they were covered in blood, but you know, this is how things go out here, children. And so that is the story of the ballad of the boisterous blood blossom, and why the trees in that area of the forest are stained red. Ding.
Thanks, Grandma. I thought it was because giants got their periods all over the trees.
Well, you know, Jessica, there might be another tale about giants, but not tonight. Grandma, different Grandma, come, I'm tired. Someone get these damn kids off my lawn. I don't know.
awesome.
Nice job, Sydney.
So good. Oh, so how is everyone doing? Everybody doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
That was
Awesome.
fun.
Yay. Who would like to lead the next tale?
Fine either way.
Same.
Okay.
I don't have a title in mind, so if you want to go for it, go for it.
I don't either. Okay.
While you're figuring that out, can I ask for
Mhm.
clarification?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does harm reset after every story?
Yes.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because each tale, it's happening at a different time. So yeah.
Awesome.
While we were wrapped listening to grandmother Sydney's tale, the small dog who was displayed earlier had to eat his dinner in here with me because he will not accept his dinner in the place where he normally eats it from anybody else.
That makes sense. Oh, what a sweet little bean. How old is Puppy?
Hang on one second. I have lost my sound. Hold on.
It's a mystery.
Could you please say that again, Sydney?
Oh, yeah. I was just asking how old your puppy was.
Oh, Yaskier is about 6. We adopted him when he was 4. And then Tegan, my larger dog, she's about 8, I would guess. But I think what's happened is that my headphones have died. So I'm going to switch those out while Jenna is discovering the tale that she's going to tell.
Honestly, this system is probably one of the most interesting improv heavy systems I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it so much fun. Yeah, this is what I kind of wish D&D and Pathfinder were like, in a lot of ways, because same, no likey math no good, math hurt brain, and just being able to like come up with stuff on the fly and just really exercise that muscle is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Sydney, have you heard of Wander Home? Have the rest of you heard of Wander Home? Yeah. My friend Jay Dragon from LARP camp back in the day created this RPG system that it's very, I mean, it's different than this, but it reminds me of this a lot of the ways because it's all about collaborative storytelling and with prompts. And so it's like Redwall, you're all different animal kind of characters going on a wondrous adventure. And you collect and you like roll to see where you're going on each individual adventure, and then you basically just like tell the story together, or there's somebody that's kind of leading the story, but like it has a similar type of basic mechanic, but kind of set in a different world, different setting. But what I really love, but that one doesn't have any dice at all. But what I really love about this one is there is that element of chance to it, and harm and things. So it's kind of like a graduated scale between how many mechanics, and this one's a little bit more mechanics than that. So it's like it depends on what you're feeling, you know. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Yazba's bed and breakfast when it comes out. Folks at home, that one is still on Indiegogo. Oh, and also you can get Wander Home from Possum Creek Games website.
Oh, no, I don't have it handy. Oh, I do have it handy.
What?
Not to plug my friend's book when we're playing something else,
But it's so pretty.
And it has beautiful art.
That is so pretty. Holy shnikes. Oh, yeah. Actually, yes. Also, while we're taking this break to talk about things, yeah, where do buy this one?
Yes, please tell.
So you can get your very own physical copy of Savage Sisters from our website, ninthlevelgames.com, and that's the numeral 9, not ninth spelled out, or IPR, or if you would prefer a digital version, you can get that on Drive-Thru RPG or itch.io from the Ninth Level Games pages on those requisite, or not requisite, the websites that I said. Yeah.
Yay!
Cool.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Children, gather around. I have a tale for you.
Yay, Grandmommy!
Hello.
And one of the
Grandmommy's
good ones,
calling.
Grandma.
Yes.
Don't listen to her. She
Yes,
was
I heard.
talking about periods earlier.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You know that, Grandma. She's a little wild. We are going to tell a bit more of a spooky story.
Ooh.
Little spooky, a little sweet, but perhaps it'll have you shaking in your bedrolls just a little bit.
Grandma, I'm scared of the dark and loud noises and quiet noises and wolves and books and haircuts.
Well, just keep in mind that we'll always light each other's fires and your family will keep you safe. So if you're ever afraid of the dark, don't worry. Your sisters are here. Right, I'm going to tell you the story of the feral queen within the cave.
Oh.
It was a delightful midsummer's day. There was a wonderful harvest that was being prepared for. There was the maypole dancing that always happens every year. And there was much revelry and joy. Our lovely friends, actually the same friends that we heard about earlier tonight. I was inspired to tell you another one of their tales. They were chanting boisterously at the midsummer pole and maybe had imbibed a few. This was a few years later. And they were recounting tales of their past exploits when suddenly there was a vibration and a sort of boom in the air. And it wasn't the sound of drums. And it wasn't the sound of thunder, though it seemed like it was. It was the sound of the mountain quaking. And all of our beautiful tribe, all of our beautiful Soldol grew quiet. And a hush fell over the crowd. For the mountain had not quaked in many years. Sigrid, always the more interesting and wild one of the group, said, "We should check this out, I think." Uvarak, always wanting to discover more about the world, and also always willing to support her childhood friend in anything and everything, said, yes, of course, Sigrid. We must examine what this phenomenon is. And who better to perhaps lead us on our journey, because these woods can get very, very difficult to traverse, than our dear friend Abe. And so they wrangled Abe and said, we should go check out what's happening in that mountain. And so they set forth.
I just like to say for the record, I don't think this is wise. But I am excited.
Okay.
Okay, I think we should decide which direction to go first. If we're going to go this way, we may fall into the traps that we've made for our dinner. So perhaps we should go this way. But we will need to watch out because some of the animal traps have been set where I'm not sure we can all necessarily observe. So perhaps we should roll for traps. Which would be feet, perhaps? Or is that just speed?
It's dexterity and speed. So yeah, I think that sandals is a good choice here.
Okay.
Oh no.
Sigrid, why don't you lead?
Okay. Sigrid, being so eager to get to the bottom of what's happening in this mountain cave, immediately steps in a bear trap. Right out the gate. Just rolls an 8.
Yeah.
And just decides that, oh, I should step right here. They scream in pain and then quickly hush themselves because they realize if there's something dangerous in the cave, they probably shouldn't attract that much noise. But their cry has been let out. And they slowly pry the bear trap from their leg and go, why does it always happen to me? Why is it always, I'm just trying to walk. I need glasses that don't exist yet. And pries it off of their leg and continues forward. One less trap. You're welcome.
Abe, who has been following very close behind Sigrid, because at this point, I think Abe knows that, doesn't know why, but knows that Sigrid is not quite as visually observant as she is, especially in the forest, and so she. But unfortunately does not notice the bear trap in time to warn Sigrid. And as it springs on her, she leaps backwards and falls into her own trap, which happens to be a pit, actually, a small pit, and that it's been covered by leaves and things. And she falls backwards into the pit and takes one harm, but manages to kind of claw and pull her way up out of the pit and dust herself off and continue onward. Says, good luck, Uberak.
Uberak is busy regaling the rest of the crew with how proud she is of having devised this system of trap laying where we lay a whole bunch of different traps in the same area so as to catch many different kinds of prey, such that we don't have to walk very far in order to catch our prey. It doesn't notice any of this happening, but does sort of turn around when she hears the bear trap go off, and in turning around trips over a root that is just really obvious there on the path. And as she tips forward, she grabs hold of the vine that's hanging from a tree in front of her, which happened to be a snare, but had she actually stepped in it, she would have been pulled up, but she didn't. She just grabbed hold of it, went for a nice swing, and landed safely on the other side. Feeling very confident that the plan is working.
So that was the first misstep in the series of interesting events in which all three of our intrepid heroes had a Three Stooges moment. And
I just want to say that not everybody was a misstep, Grandma, because Uberak did really well.
Yes, I'm sure that's what your grandma told you, but she did still mess up one of the traps, and the other villagers had to go back and reset it later, so it was a bit of a bother. No. Anyway, we continued a story where the three adventurers have now passed the traps and hunting gathering area of the forest, and they continued until they reached the foot of the mountain, and Abe noticed that there happened to be as they approached the mountain and kind of reached the foot of the mountain, they heard that thunderous sound again, and the mountain shook, and some pieces of stone kind of fell off the side of the mountain, and as they looked up, they were able to see that the mountain, the pieces of rock that had been displaced, revealed a cave. But it was a bit high up in the mountain, and so they knew that they would have to climb to get into this cave and see what was inside. Climb, my friends.
You fools.
I think this is
Also-
also sandals, yes. Let's try that again. So who decided to venture forth first?
Apparently Sigrid did. She didn't learn her lesson from last time.
Oh dear.
You know what's funny about Sigrid is that her just wild optimism really just gets you going. And as she's climbing, she's like talking to herself. She's like, all right, I can't see where I'm putting my hands, but I believe that the spirit of Farron's gonna guide me to the top of this. And then she falls. And then she hits and lands on her back and just as the breath leaves her body, she thinks, why can't we fight something already? And just starts climbing back up the mountain.
Uberak shouts, gravity! You're fighting gravity.
And Sigrid goes, ha! And keeps climbing.
Abe follows behind and manages to find rock holds, and in spots where the rock is a bit loose, she manages to kind of shove in her spear and kind of use it as assistance as she climbs up. And when she gets near the top, she says, Uberak, I think I may have left some handholds, so I hope you can make your way up. Are you all right?
Uberak is down at the bottom of the mountain, like softly singing into the rock in order to just send some good vibrations into the mountain in order to be able to climb better. It's kind of all she's got. She's not very dexterous, and so words are her weapon, only they're not in this instance. Well, they are just not working for her. And so after doing this, little does she know that her voice has sort of shaken some things loose. And so while Abe did indeed leave some really beautiful handholds, really all that did was take a bunch of the rocks that sort of fell from the top when Uberak sang into the mountain, and it just cracks them open, so even more rocks end up pelting down at Uberak. And so she just gets pelted 6 times in a row, straight on her head. She just keeps thinking it's over, and it's not. And so with just the lightest of concussions, she manages to slowly make her way up with her sister's assistance about where she should indeed put her hands now.
Well, glad we made it up. Are you all right, Uberak?
Who? Oh, yes.
Do you need a bandage?
I, Uberak,
Yeah.
am fine.
Oh, are you all there?
What is all and what is there?
Sigrid's gonna lean over to Abe and go, I've had one of these before.
Yeah,
We gotta make sure that they don't fall asleep.
Yeah, I think so too. But also, Ubrak can kind of be like fake sometimes when she's having like one of her like, existential times. So I can't really tell which one it is at this moment.
Ubrak is stroking a tree.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not sure if that helps.
Yeah, that helps. Yes, it appears Ubrak had gone real kooky. So, as they walked into the cave, Abe found herself having to lead both of her companions by the hand, one with a physical limitation and the other with a mental limitation. What a motley crew they were. And they walked down this passage in the mountainside. Jagged edges with many fallen rocks littering. They had to crawl at points, but mostly they could walk, because it actually appeared as though beings had gone through there before them. Some of the rocks were actually moved and piled with great strength, and it appeared that something was lifting them. And in fact, they found out what those somethings were.
Is it the giants?
Corner. Very close, my dear. Not giants, but trolls.
Dun,
Now,
dun,
we
dun.
all know of the giant mountain trolls, and that is why you never go into the mountain on your own. But back then, they thought the trolls were just a story, just a myth, until our three sisters found out the truth. The thundering they heard was coming from the throwing of rocks by the trolls. They rounded the corner, and they saw two large mountain trolls clearing a path in the mountainside. As they rounded the corner, they tried not to be noticed. However, did you want to roll to see if you were noticed?
Oh, we're gonna be noticed, but let's roll anyway for
Yes.
fun. Oh,
Which one is this?
I think it could either be skulls or sandals. What do you think?
sandals.
You think sandals?
Also, I'm biased because I actually rolled a 4 this time.
I mean, I think if we're going vaguely by D&D rule, like idea, then it could be one of either, depending on, interpretation of the story. You were dexterous enough to avoid, knocking over any rocks and things. Abe was also able to avoid knocking over rocks and things. What about Ubrak?
What ho! Cries Ubrak.
Oh no, not the loony brain. Oh wow. Oh, this is just rich. What is this?
Hello, friends. She says.
Who are you?
What an incredible question. Starts with it starts with a U.
Oh my god.
It flew straight out of my head the moment you asked. Who are you?
Ooh, me?
You are Humi. Hi, Humi.
No.
I am you.
No. Who? You? Yes, you
For sure.
are you.
Yes. And you.
Not me. Rala. But Rala also me. Rala confused. And Rala sits down and has a good think. The other
Uberak does
troll-
also.
Yes. Uberak sits down. Uberak sat down next to Rala, and they both had a very interesting think about who, and who was me, and who was you. The other troll turned to them, turned to its companion, looked at him, and looked at our intrepid adventurers, and said, "Why you in cave?"
In blah.
And points the strange one making hand movement.
I was being sneaky.
No.
We here because we heard cool noise and we wanted to see what cool noise was. Did you make cool noise?
Yes! I make cool noise with rocks. And he picks up a rock and he slams it down on the ground and it breaks apart into 1,000 pieces. Please roll for Sandals.
Well,
Wait, why?
so sandals because trying to avoid rock
Trying to
bits?
avoid the rocks.
Got it.
Oh, do you think that it would be? Oh, that's right. It would be skulls, don't you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, but it could be either, and it's up to you because you're
Yeah.
the grandmother.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've been relying on sandals too much, so I think we need to shake it up and do skulls. So
Cool.
I think it would be more like blunt force health, how much you dodge. Yeah. So let's do skulls.
Well, thank goodness my roll works for both of those.
I don't think Uberak has to roll because Uberak is shielded by the troll.
It's too late. I already rolled.
Oh.
Oh no.
But it's okay. It's okay because Uberak looks up and sees these beautiful shooting stars coming down straight at her face, where she's once again hit with a rock.
Abe, who has not fully revealed herself around the mouth of the cave because she's been trying to stay hidden, manages to pull her head back as the stone is dropped and manages to avoid the showering of boulders. How does Sigrid do?
Sigrid catches one of the rocks and goes, "That's so cool!" and smashes the rock.
Yes! Good game! Do you want to see more of our rocks?
Yes.
What?
And he said, "My name, Gro, by the way." And Gro led them down the tunnel even farther. He pulled aside some rocks as he went, and he said, "We keep closed tunnels to guard mountain, but you, good friends." And the other
I
troll.
love you too, says Uberak.
Yes, the other troll is following as well. So Uberak is yes, much love from trolls. And he leads you deep into the center of the cave and says, "Can you keep secret?" "It's okay, I trust you anyway." And he moves aside the final boulder and says, "This is Queen of Trolls." And in the cavernous cave that has been revealed to you, there is a great stone throne, and upon it sits the largest troll you've ever seen. and it appeared initially to be just a towering pile of rocks, but then you see it slowly start to move and reveal the largest crown you've ever seen. And she takes it off, puts it next to her, shakes off some of the stone dust that has gathered upon her, and she says, "Welcome, humans." And our three adventurers were very scared. Well, two of them were scared. One of them would have been scared if she knew what was going on. But they were all very intrigued by this troll queen. And they also didn't really see a way out of approaching her because they had two big trolls behind them blocking their exit. So they slowly approached the queen. And the queen said, "Are you food?"
No. No.
Sometimes.
No.
It depends.
No. Mm-mm.
No,
We're gross.
Yes, we tried very hard not to be food. Yes, and we do not taste good. No, we don't.
Uberak licks her arm. It is indeed gross.
Okay. Are you fun? And she reaches a hand down, and she reaches to pick up one of you.
God.
So roll another sandals.
Yay. I keep rolling 4s or 5s.
We all run
I keep
out
rolling
of the way.
2s.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
No? Oh, I thought you said yay!
No, I'm straight 2s over here today.
Oh, well, that makes sense, honestly. So, Sigrid and Abe managed to dodge out of the way of the giant hand.
Uberak reaches up for a hug.
Uberak gets picked up in the giant fist of the troll. And what does she say to the troll when she says, "Are you fun?"
Personally, I think fun is overrated. I would rather be satisfied by a narrative experience than have just plain fun.
No. Not fun. And she puts Uberak back down on the ground. And she says, "Do you have gift for Queen of Trolls?"
We maybe.
Have reindeer.
Yeah, we have roll for 1 and find out.
To eat?
No.
No.
Me troll like eat reindeer.
No.
Uberak starts crying. It's just too much.
Why sad?
Reindeer are friends.
Oh.
Reindeer are friends, not food.
What have for Queen then?
Magic.
Yes, I have a spear. I have wild magic in my spear. I could do something for her.
We can make your crown disappear.
No.
Whoa.
No! You make me not queen anymore. No, said Abe. we will make your crown more beautiful. It will not disappear. It will just come over here for a moment, and I will cover it in beautiful vines. She says, okay. And slowly places the crown down. And Abe pokes her spear at the crown. What kind of role do you think this would be? Because it is a wild magic spear.
So I think that you could roll for scrolls because knowledge of the type of magic that you're trying to use, or you could roll for spear for like your scythes. And I would honestly take a success on either.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I can attempt to assist with some scrollage. It's a risk, but
yeah. Give it a shot.
I think really hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jenna. I interrupted
Is
you.
there, well, because I know that there was a mechanic for advantage with like the but could we use it in this context as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I would say is that with Uberak helping, if either of you succeed on either test, you succeed.
Cool. Okay.
Did you know that the vines that go over the entrance have a religious connotation for trolls? It means that if they are very close to a troll, that troll is going to live forever. Trolls think they can do that.
That's so cool. I just saw the vines and was like, they must like vines. She probably wants some on her crown, but
it's symbolic.
Whoa. Okay. All right. So I will tap into that divine energy, and she stabs the spear into the crown, and the most beautiful blossoming vines sprouted from the double success of the patrons surrounds this crown, and blossoms actually bloom from the vines, and the troll queen says, "Flowers in cave," and they hand back the crown, and the troll queen puts it on her head. And she says, "Do you want gift from the trolls?"
Yes.
"What gift?" "We have stone. We have people with big legs, strong bodies. We have mountain."
Can you make a slide from the top of this mountain to the bottom of the mountain?
"Yes, big slide."
Fun.
And she turns to Rala and Gra, and she says, "Mountain movers, go help humans." And they turn to the side of the mountain, and to a different passage, and they gesture for you to follow. And Gra climbs up this passage a little bit farther, and then he punches the side of the mountain with all his might, and a hole bursts through the side of the mountain, revealing now the night air. And it turns out you are much closer to the bottom than you were before, because you kind of climbed down, but it is still quite a steep climb. And Gra says, "Rala." And Rala goes, "No, not Rala. Me." You know? Ubarak Humi.
Ubarak gives the troll the biggest hug.
Oh, me.
Do you?
Me. And Rala, now known as me, jumps down the side of the mountain and holds out his arms to catch boulders that Gra is throwing down to kind of assemble a sort of boulder slide. And Gra jumps on, and it looks very pointy and not at all comfortable, but then Gra jumps on it, and his giant body trolls are kind of made of mountain trolls are kind of made of partly of stone, and so as he slides down this slide, it smooths out the stone as it scrapes down and kind of leaves a powdery smooth slide in its wake. And the three of the wonderful sisters jumped down onto the slide and slid their way down the stone slide. They high-fived the trolls as they went, and they turned to one another, and Abe said, well, I think, first of all, we need to get Ubarak checked out a little bit and maybe brought to the medic. And also, this could have gone much worse, so maybe as good a time as we had with these trolls, we avoid that mountain from now on and just kind of let the thunderous noises be. What do you think, Sigrid?
Great idea. Maybe we tell them that instead of trolls that are in there, because that might entice people to go in and get rid of the trolls, that it's just a very boring cave. Nothing in there. Just kind of rumbles sometimes. Yeah. Boring
Yeah.
cave.
I think so too. But also, then they wouldn't hear of our cool adventures.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And so that's why I still tell this story to this day. Because even though you shouldn't go into that cave, and we were gonna say it was super boring, we do love to brag about our adventures. So just promise, just tell Grandma, pinky promise you won't go in the troll cave. Promise?
Yeah, Grandma. We
Sure,
promise.
Grandmom. Totally, Grandmom.
Good. Now Grandma's going to bed.
Hey, Jessica, do you want to sneak inside that cave?
I put my middle finger up instead of my pinky. She can't see that well anymore.
Everyone in this entire Sodal needs glasses.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
That gives me an idea.
That was amazing.
Great.
All right. Okay.
Just want to do a quick check. Everybody still good? You need anything? Okay.
Good.
I'm
Okay.
living my best life through these.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Give me just a second to think of one more word.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So we had the Ballad of the Boisterous Blood Blossom, and it was the tale of the feral queen within the cave.
It's just the feral queen within the cave.
The feral queen within the cave. Nice. I write down.
Okay.
Oh.
The title of well, right, in character. Cool. I got this.
Yes.
Children, get over here.
Okay, Grandma.
If you, and I swear to God, if you harass your sisters one more time, the little ones, I'm not talking about each other, you can both fend for yourselves, but if you try to take down a 2-year-old one more time just because it's kind of funny, I will tell you horror stories at 11:57 p.m. for the rest of your lives. Are we clear?
Okay,
Good.
Grandma.
Now settle in, kids. Today I want to tell you a story that I think you're going to appreciate. Now, this is the story of the nearsighted festivities and the obvious prophecy. Now, your great-ish grandmothers used to throw parties. The thing is, they used to throw these ritual parties that had nothing to do with the seasons or the weather or the animals or giving thanks. They just threw parties because they loved festivities. And so they would do it on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 1 p.m. whenever they felt like it. And they would try to get the entire whole everyone from the Sodal involved. And some people just wanted to sleep, but others would party hard as well. The thing is, not everyone in the Sodal had the keenest of sight. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically. However, these rituals came to take a tone of prophecy. It was Sigrid who started it. Sigrid believed in prophecies, deeply and profoundly. In fact, her favorite prophecy, which she referred to frequently, was
the prophecy of the pestering peasant,
which was utter nonsense. There was nothing to it, nothing. In all these years, nothing has come of it. But she wouldn't let it go, just would not let it go. And she would pester every peasant that she saw because she believed that it was her fate. And so one day, Abe got frustrated because Sigrid was, well, she was causing some rifts between the peasants and the community. And all Abe wanted was for everyone to be able to party together. And so Abe used whatever skills Abe thinks that Abe would use in order to talk some sense into Sigrid. And it went away. I don't know which role this is.
Oh,
I
probably
would.
rolls, right?
Yeah. Scrolls.
So Abe approaches Sigrid at one of these gatherings, and Sigrid had used these parties as a new excuse to accost peasants, and it was really just putting downers on all of the parties. And so Abe approached her and on one of these times and said, Sigrid, I think you're insulting the neighboring communities when you're insinuating, just bad things about them and accosting them. And Sigrid was not listening. But then Abe said, Sigrid, do you know what would be great? And there was a beautiful a ringing of bells, and she was able to, from her drinking horn, get a piping beautiful cup of mead, the sweetest honey mead that you've ever seen, and she wafts it in front of Sigrid's nose and says, Sigrid, wouldn't you want some ale instead? It seems that Farron has blessed us with some beautiful ale, with some beautiful mead. Why don't you come over here and have some mead tonight? And gets Sigrid thoroughly distracted and a little tipsy.
Now, not only was this a gift to Sigrid, because it means that she wasn't going to get beat up today, it was also a gift to Abe, because what this mead did was give just a little thought in the back of her mind that
things do sometimes just happen for what appears to be no reason. Sometimes things just work out. And she began to wonder, perhaps prophecies are real. Maybe there's something to this after all. I wonder what else is out there that we have not yet discovered that could aid us on our journey through becoming who we are meant to be. And so she turned to her very trusted and respected, dearest of friends, whose name was, I forgot my own name.
Uberak.
Uberak.
Grandma, you're really getting old.
Shut it.
And Uberak, in all of her wisdom, said, yes, of course, prophecies are perhaps real. It seems obvious to me that it might be true and possible that it could go in either direction. And if I know anything about the possibility of prophecies, is that they are brought about by people through their own agency and will at parties. Let's make a prophecy. And so the sisters gather together on a Tuesday at 1 p.m. while everyone else is off doing work. And they gather around a large willow tree that is one of their like raucous party sites. And they start thinking about how to create a prophecy. And Abe offers up a magical solution.
A magical solution to
the creation of a prophecy. Abe's like, I've got this. I'm going to use magic to create a prophecy.
I think that if we are able to kind of harness the power that water holds, we will be able to look into the reflection and see what this prophecy is. Perhaps we could get some sort of bowl, fashion a magical bowl, and in that water it will hold our prophetic future.
Uberak goes over to the lake and fills up a small bowl with water and carries it back. And they all peer down into this bowl. And sure enough, they can see each other, which isn't something they can always do. They can see each other clearly, in fact. And so Uberak says, there be the prophecy. It is a prophecy that with enough water, we can bring the sight, both literal and metaphorical, to our entire sisterhood. Let's get more water. And so they all go to the lake and attempt to collect a vast amount of water using, well, Uberak's going to attempt to use intelligence for this. So she decides that the best way to bring sight to her sisters is to splash them all straight in the eyes with the iciest water she can find, which happens to include a number of ice shards. And so she tests this out on dear Abe, her respected and trusted companion, and tosses this water in Abe's face. It doesn't work. And Abe ends up with a small retinal cut. Uberak apologizes and starts thinking about the next course of action and suggests that maybe somebody else try to fulfill the prophecy, that maybe it's not her after all.
Grandmother, what was the prophecy again?
They didn't know. They were making it up as they went along. But Uberak
believed that it was possible that the entire sisterhood could be given both metaphorical and literal sight through the power of water. Like most prophecies, it was vague. But then Sigrid decided that she would take a crack at it.
And all that talk of water made Sigrid have to step away for a moment. So this Sigrid has no idea what's going on, but she's going to try. Sigrid, knowing that she has problems with sight in general, having it fall upon her negatively many a time before, she looks into the water and she starts bashing it with her shield, hoping that maybe if she creates enough ripples in the water, something's gonna happen. She's gonna see something different, a new perspective through the ripples. Can I roll a
shield and axe?
Yeah. Well, yeah, yep, we're gonna see what happens. That's an 8. Good things happen. What happens, Grandma?
Well, Sigrid has bashed in so much of the water that she actually undid a water flow dam. And so while the entire community had to be trekking up this mountain in order to get water from the lake, she actually released just a nice small rivulet down to where the encampment was, and no one had to go more than 6 feet to get water ever again. But she did not fulfill the prophecy. In fact, some folks who didn't know that the rivulet was there and also couldn't hear very well ended up stepping in the river, and that was quite a shock to them. And so it was down to Abe, who had to find a way to use water in order to fulfill the prophecy of giving both metaphorical and literal sight to all of the sisters in the Sodal.
So Abe approaches her sisters and says, so I think that if we go to the source where the water's coldest and don't splash it in each other's eyes, and she kind of points to her own eye that is still kind of swollen shut, and says, and instead, perhaps bathe in the waters. They will tell us futures that we are seeking. In the small bowl, we saw our own reflections in a way we had never seen them before. Perhaps in the higher pool up north, we will see our whole selves. We will see more of the truth rather than just the glimpse that we saw.
The sisters grab their meads because they've been drinking, because this is festivities, and they begin heading up towards the source of the water, which had many prophecies attached to it already, but there's no reason there couldn't be one more. And so they begin trekking up and up and up, and they begin to see all of these different forms of water. For instance, it begins to snow, and then hail, and then it warms up, sort of, and becomes rain. It's the craziest thing. And by the time they get up to the very top of the oracle, it's Wednesday. Early, around 1 in the morning by the moon clock.
Mm-hmm.
And Abe looks down into the water, and her sisters ask her,
"Is it clear? Do you see it? What's the answer? How do we get better at seeing? Do you see it?"
There's not enough moonlight. I can't see clearly. Can one of us move some of these branches aside so we can see a little more clearly?
I'll do it. Sigrid moves the branches aside, successfully, I assume, because they're just branches.
Uh-huh.
Should we get in?
Yeah, I think if we wade in a little, we could see our all three of us in the water, and then maybe that will reveal what the whole picture.
So they're looking down into the water, and they're not really talking about the fact that it's about a 14-foot drop from where they're currently standing.
Ooh.
But they're committed. And so they use their agility to leap into the source of all the water.
Sandals.
Yeah.
And Uberak does not do very well with leaping. In fact, she just leaps too soon by a good 6 feet and just ends up just sort of belly flopping onto the edge of the cliff and tumbling down into the water. So she does make it in, but she breaks a rib or two.
Ooh.
Sigrid thought she was doing great. She did not. And immediately upon stepping into the lake, steps on a piece of glass from a broken bottle because these sisters are drunk, climbing up a mountain. And inevitably there's glass in the water. And she just slices her foot.
I'm so sorry. I feel like that was on. I fell. I had lost control. I'm so sorry, Sigrid. And also, Abe, I continue to be really sorry about your eye. I'm so sorry, y'all. Also, it's cold in the water.
It's very cold. So as they're shivering and stuff, Sigrid's gonna pull the glass out of her foot. she's gonna kind of look through it and be like, "Wow. Hey guys, do you see?
Wait, I can't see. I'm still at the top of the mountain. Hold on, let me jump down. And Abe jumps down and with a graceful flip that you think maybe she's just showing off now, and she's like, oh my god, just get a grip. She jumps down and kind of lands in a hero pose in the water, and then says, oh yeah, it is cold. Yes, what was it that you wanted to show us?
Sigrid just looks at you like, God damn it. Anyway. Take a look through this piece of glass. Look through this piece of glass. Both of you, look.
Whoa. Is the world broken?
It looks
Is that what
like
trees?
Huh?
Do trees usually look like that?
I don't know. What do you think, Abe?
There's this weird, like, fracturing. Everything looks weird.
Ooh. And then Sigrid looks for more pieces of glass and then combines them together and shows them to her sisters and goes, look at this. Hold it up. I don't know what it's called, but it makes everything look weird. Wow. She hands it over to Abe and goes, what do we do with this new information?
Well, first of all, don't tip it too far back or you're gonna knock out my other eye. But it looks really cool. Do you think this can help us tell the future? I mean, Uberak, you're the smart one. What does this mean?
And Uberak took the glass and she put it very close to her eye and she looked up like a fool.
No.
And what she saw was what we now know to be the moon. She knew it to be the moon too, but she'd never seen it really. It was just a big blur before that. And so she all of a sudden felt very small, as though for the first time she understood her place in the universe. And that it was that she was nothing. truly nothing. And yet the thought calmed her, for she had felt all of this pressure to be everything to everyone. And one tear fell from her eye into the sacred source pool water. And she handed the piece of glass back to Sigrid. And she said, I think you might be a genius, Sigrid. And she handed her D4 to Sigrid, who clearly deserved it.
The obvious prophecy was nihilism.
And that's why we still celebrate Nihilism Day here at the Sodal. 364 days of the year. Now go to bed.
It's my favorite day of the year. That's why I kicked the 2-year-old the other day, Grandma.
Because
Nothing
matters.
You're right. I retract my sass. Go ahead, kick your brother.
I'm just kidding. He wanted me to kick him. We think it's a fun joke because nothing matters.
Good job. Now go get Grandma some more mead, will you?
Okay,
And she
Grandma,
pushes
here
her
you go.
monocle up to her eye and drinks of the mead. Skull, she says.
Go!
My face hurts.
Mine too.
Sorry to get meta.
Yay!
That's Savage Sisters.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
That was fun.
All of your stories were amazing. This was so good. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. It's
It was
such
actually-
a good system. Like I felt like whenever I was like, oh, there's too many choices or there's too many, like when we were designing it, it was like, oh, but your tribe like draw inspiration from the animal you chose, you know? So it's like, oh, it all like fed into the next thing. And then it's like, oh, but draw on your relationships with the people. I think it was like just enough information that we could use it as a springboard, but not too much information that we felt like overlogged with like too much stuff to start off with, which is really great.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting also to see everyone's different storytelling styles.
Yes.
And that was really interesting. And like watching us kind of like deer wobbling on our legs at first, like, okay, how do we do this? And then eventually like figuring it out and like,
Yeah.
okay, this is how that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was delightful.
I love the conceit of Grandma telling the story.
Yeah.
the different types of grandmothers that you brought to the fire were so wonderful.
Yeah.
We go to Grandma Jessica when we want to learn about cigarettes.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, she's the grandma like slipping them a little meat under the table because they got to get used to it.
Wild Grandma Sydney with her bikini.
So
The lineage is so clear.
one thing that I have borrowed from my friend Sarah is I like to go around with like just a favorite moment. It could be anything from the evening that we've had, and I would love it if y'all would each pick a moment, if you can, from the story of the person before you, and Jess, we would wrap, so you would pick from Sydney's story, if that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. No pressure. Anyone can start at any time, but also you can take a minute to think.
So I would compliment Jenna's story.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
wait. No. Jenna would compliment your story.
Yes. Yeah.
Jessica would compliment Jenna's story.
Yes.
And you would compliment Jessica's story. Yes.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I'm happy to start. I thought you did such a good job, Jenna, like right off the bat of being like, and then there was a fucking challenge that they had to deal with, and it just set the tone for the whole thing. And it was so delightful to put them in hot water that fast. And just like falling into a pit. I don't know. It's delightful. I love that. And I loved Sydney having just like in my brain, like we're like old timey in the woods. And then Sydney's like, and there was a metal bear trap. And I was like, yes, there is. There definitely is. Yeah, for sure. It was so good. I was like, yeah, that seems like the kind of thing that we would do. Like we're really backwards in some ways. And in others, like we're like highly technological. It felt so on brand for our world. And that just like the setup was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how in Jessica's story, it just kind of organically happened in such an insane way, all based off the fact that they were literally drunks. They were literally like, this is really only happening because these girls want to party, and don't you see how silly this is? Like, this is when we did all the like, you know, the big serious crazy. Now let's like actually get into what their real lives are like, because these girls are wacko. And that was really fun to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Cindy, you definitely had the hardest job because you went first, and so like you and we were able to just like get crazier as we went. And so the fact that you were able to spin like an adventure tale that like made sense and had beats, and like had the wolf, but then the wolf turned out to be a guardian, but then a villain, like those are actually pretty complex like story like beats that were kind of just like thrown out there that were like totally made a ton of sense. And having the flowers be, you know, just like your descriptions of the flowers was actually gorgeous. And that's something that like I DM a lot, and I don't always like think about descriptions enough, and they're so vivid and so important, and so it made for a really beautiful story. And then of course Jessica's song was fantastic and really just like brought the world to life too. Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
I know, it feels literally like it was like 2 days ago, and it was an hour ago. We have lived lives. We have gone on to other adventures since then.
I just can't believe you came up with that on the spot, because it actually had like an ending. Yeah.
I was on a wing and I was like, please let this work. Please let this work.
It was beautiful.
I have to say, like, all three of you, in a way that like I think it takes other folks a long time to do, you really just grokked the different narrative spaces that you needed to occupy, and it was amazing. Like, and you were able to like switch between your children around the fire personas and your grandmother personas and your character personas. And like, I was sitting here thinking like, oh, this is why I make games, so that people will entertain me, because it was all so good.
It was actually really lovely elegant having you on the screen, like just being like like a proud mom. Like anytime I'd be like, oh, this is a fun improv idea, and you're like, yeah.
I can't believe how much I love the grandmother framing. Like it's so much fun, but it also like sets the tone, mm-hmm. and like it lets us know like what world we're in, so that we can be in a bunch of different worlds. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yay,
like
thank you.
And I thought it was going to be hard. I was like, maybe I'll keep my character out of the story, because it seems like so much to balance, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't. It actually felt like really organic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if I did drop the ball, Sydney was there to be like, and then grandma jumped in.
It's also,
Which I really appreciated.
it's just really cool, like the fact that also we're lucky as a group, I feel like, because we all kind of can play in that same way.
Yeah.
Because playing with completely different people, it would be a completely different game.
Yeah.
You know, like
And
completely like.
I know. I actually wanted to hear your thoughts on it, Adriel, as the like creator, like other ways, like for people that may be like watching, other ways that you've like heard it played, because like we are playing it in a very like fun way that also is like, you know, like that very much plays with like character and you know and silliness and what you know, did you have like certain, like, because you have Xena in mind and genre, which like plays with the genre and has like some fun with it and some comedy as well, but it is more of like a traditional adventure story. So what are some of the other ways that you've like seen it played or like, you know, can give for people?
So in the book, we've included, just to start, 3 pre-written adventures by Kira Magran, which I think are just really great starting points for folks who are maybe not as comfortable GMing in a space, because I know that can be like really intimidating when you're new in the space, or even if you've just always been a player. And so in my observations, I've seen folks who approach it in a more sort of literal manner, and they're like, I'm going to lead these characters through this like narrative that I've structured. And then I've seen people be completely like, even just sort of at the level that you were all at, with just like, I'm just going to roll with whatever's next. And what I like about polymorph is that we've set it up so that both ways of engaging are supported. And I've also seen like every once in a while, people will be so into a story and they just kind of forget that it's like a short tale, and they'll be like, well, all 3 or 4 of us are just gonna like walk through this story. And what I've observed, and I think this is also really interesting, is that some folks like to follow like, this story happened first, this story happened second, this one happened third and fourth, and so on, where other people will jump around in time. Like you all clearly, you stated, you know, like Sydney said, this is when they were younger, you know, and like clearly all were old enough to drink in Jessica's story. And there was like, time is sort of irrelevant, but also it often just comes in naturally. So yeah.
That's cool. And that's good to know that there are pre-written stories to like get people to ease into it, you know?
Yeah. I never want anyone to be like, well, what do I do now? So yeah, we definitely were like, we're going to put some stories in there. Oh, and if you're a person who enjoys free RPG day, I wrote what I called a Savage Sisters sheath for level 1, which is our 9th level games free RPG day anthology. And it's basically, it's like, I've structured a Sodal for the players at home. So all they need to do is be like, oh, I want to play in this environment. And it's got some like circusy elements and Dionysian worship elements, and hopefully it'll work.
Dionysian worship.
Yeah.
Cool, sold.
Also sold.
So
I
we're
love
already-
that none of us knew each other before, or at least I didn't know the 2 of you before this, and we're all like, yeah, we're vibing.
Yeah, what's our next
Like-
mission?
Yeah. Because like, I have always been fascinated by the idea of mayonnaise, and that sort of like has always played in the back of my mind. I'm like, yeah, I want to like be a little bit more explicit about that. So yeah. Well, you have all been so amazing. Thank you so much. Would you mind going around and saying who you are and where people can find you on the internet? Okay.
I think I'm first on your screen, so I'll go again. I'm Jenna Bergstresser, but you can find me online pretty much everywhere as Jenna Illustrates, because in addition to being a costume designer, I'm an illustrator. And so on Instagram, Jenna Illustrates, on my website, jennaillustrates.com, and you can find my like kind of art there. You could commission me for D&D art or portraits or things like that, but you can also see my RPG work, and this is my fun time. This is my escape from my job, so mostly I'm just here to say thank you for letting me play for a couple hours, and that's it for me.
So I think Sydney, you would be next. Yeah
All right. Hello. My name is Sydney Rubino. You can find me all over the internet at Sydney Rubino. It's just my name. Wow. That's like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all those things. When I'm not
Rubino or Rubino? V or B?
B as in an old boy. That's a Rubino over there. B. Yeah, great. It's Italian. I'm so happy to play this game, and when I'm not doing cool side things like this with cool people and telling cool stories for funsies, I also do that every Wednesday night on my home channel, which is Nat 20 Productions, Nat 20 Productions official on Twitch. We have a Pathfinder 2nd edition game that we play in a world that I helped build with my best friend, who also DMs the game. So it's a lot of fun. And we just got a new cast member. We're adding another new cast member next week. So it's a lot of like really cool change that's happening. And yeah, if you like kooky storytelling like this, honestly, it's pretty dang on par. It is. We get buck wild, guys. It's crazy. But you can watch me there if you want to. Otherwise, thank you for being amazing. I'm just happy to be here. Yay.
Jessica.
Right now I'm just feeling really jealous of Sydney, who's like, you can find me at my name, because you can't find me at my name because I made the decision to name my company I Can't Go On, which is a deep cut philosophy pun, which I feel like I should apologize for all the time, but also I love it. So I changed my name to it. Yeah, so you can see it here, so I don't have to spell it. So I run a small game and immersive experience studio. So I run, I create, I write, I perform, and design a bunch of like playable theater. And so essentially it's just like, do you want to come live in a world? Great, we're going to make that world really tactile for you. And I play a lot of RPGs and LARPs and design those too. And I design tabletop games and mobile games, and basically anything that takes like really complex, heady material and tries to make it like really fun and really embodied. So like climate change games, philosophy games, games about love and what we do when we meet strangers and stuff like that. And it has been so much fun to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast, and I would love to do it again.
Yeah.
Please, all of you, yes, come back. You're all amazing. Thank you again for playing. I'm Adriel Wilson. You can find me on Twitter at Reindeer Bee. Like be like the buzzy and the reindeer with the antlers, and on Instagram at the Reindeer Bee. I update both infrequently, but when I do update, it's generally weird. And this has been and at 9th Level Games. Oh my gosh, 9 9thlevelgames.com. You can get Savage Sisters. You can find our other polymorph games, which lean a lot more to the silly, But if you like sad things, we also have a game about radioactive dogs in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And we've got a game about being action figures punching Nazis in a space fantasy universe, that kind of thing. This has been Life Action Roleplay, and tune in again. We always have a great time and show you fun games or sad games. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, everyone.